Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, LLC, offers more value than any other good full-service real estate brokerage firm when it comes to the sale of your home. We offer at least 27 things that contribute to your home selling in the least amount of time at the highest price. To receive our free home selling pamphlet, email us at info@brooksanddavis.com or call 713-665-8329. We also assist people who want to purchase homes or who are interested in getting their real estate license. Visit us at www.brooksanddavis.com.
Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network. I'm your host, Rick Davis. If you don't follow me on social media, I urge you to do so. You can follow me at Prime Real Estate Rick on Facebook and Instagram. And once again, that is at Prime Real Estate Rick. I urge everyone to stop by our website at brooksanddavis.com. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in commercial or residential real estate, it's a one-stop shop for information and everything that you need to make a quality real estate investment and or purchase. As always, my co-host is not only a multiple-time author, a serial entrepreneur, and a Texas real estate broker, but he is also known as the Texas Real Estate King. And I'd like to introduce to the Prime Real Estate Network audience my co-host, Mr. Larry W. Brooks.
Yeah, what up, Rick? Man, I appreciate that. Listen, I need to take you on the road with me. When I'm going places, that introduction is how I need somebody to bring me on. Like, hey, every time I just get to smiling just before I get to say anything. But, hey, I appreciate being in front of you guys again. And thank you so much for the energy that you give us, all of the feedback that you give us. Of course, we got some more awesome guests in front of you today. You're going to really enjoy these guys. I spent a lot of time just getting to know them over the years myself. And, of course, you can always find me on any of your social media platforms at Texas Real Estate King. I'm excited about today, Rick, man. It's been good. You was talking about me repping my purple today. Got my Letterman shirt on. I'm just feeling vibrant.
Hey, no, it's outstanding, man. You know, I never pass upon the opportunity to represent my Stephen F. Austin State University Lumberjacks. So, as always, ask some Jacks. Today, I'm really excited as well as you are because today is a really special episode for the both of us. Today, we're going to be talking about the MS-150. It's a bike ride benefiting multiple sclerosis research. And today, I have two gentlemen that are actively participating in the ride, but also dedicate their time, energy, and resources to pushing the MS-150 and making sure that as many people know about it in the community, in and around the greater Houston area as possible. So first, I want to introduce Mr. Jeff Lewis. He is the owner and founder of the Chef Jeff Group, but he is also a professional real estate agent with the Brooks and Davis Real Estate Group. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce first Mr. Jeff Lewis to the Prime Real Estate Network audience.
Good afternoon. I'm very, very thankful and happy to be here. Appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, no, man. I'm glad you're here, brother. I know how busy everyone is, so I appreciate you carving out a little time in your schedule to sit down with us today. Today is really, 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 really exciting for me because when we started letting everybody in social media know that you were going to be a guest today, a lot of our followers and viewers started to get really excited because you have quite the reputation. You've made quite the name for yourself in and around the greater Houston area.
I appreciate that.
I'm sure our viewers are really, really excited to have you on today.
I appreciate that. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. And our second guest is Mr. Micah Love. Not only is he an author and public speaker, but he's also a national advocate for the MS Society. So once again, I'd like to introduce to the Prime Real Estate Network audience, Mr. Micah Love.
Thank you, brother, man. I feel like you, Larry, now when you say you don't know what to say, I feel like I need to bring Marvin Gaye or somebody in with me to equal what he just said. So
no,
it's
right. I mean, because I've been really excited, man. This is an episode that I really look forward to doing for the past couple of weeks since you guys had committed to join us today. So I don't want to waste any time. I want to get straight down to business, man. Let's talk a little bit about the MS-150 that's coming up, because I know there's a little bit of advertising. People might have seen things on the news. I know a lot of times they run advertisement during breaks of the Rockets games and things like that. But either of you gentlemen, could you just speak to the audience a little bit about the MS-150, how you guys got involved, and how important it is to you to bring this type of activities to the forefront so that more people can get involved?
I'll defer to Micah, being he was the liaison to
Okay.
becoming. So.
Well, I'll take it. But first,
All right.
first, Rick, I must say I got to pause here. So
Yeah.
I've been knowing Larry and Rick.
Oh,
I've
everybody's
known
laughing.
them longer than I have not known them.
That's
Wow.
that.
Wow. I
It's
never
like-
considered it that way.
Like
but-
23, 24 years we've known each other.
Wow. That's
So,
right.
and I've seen Larry go from Larry and Rick on campus at Stephen F. Austin. Larry driving his teal neon
Hey,
with
hey,
rims.
represent.
that Neil used to get it, man.
Hey, you
Represent.
roll. And then you got Rick driving around the campus with a Jeep,
Yeah.
you
And
know,
the
and his hat
Cherokee,
on. Yeah, this
Cherokee,
chick.
yep.
And like it was, one thing about Rick, he always had his gas tank full of gas.
So you wasn't a broke college student like the rest
Nah,
of us.
because I didn't drive my car much.
But he told me it was some little game you told me about that too. I ain't gonna spill all the beer
Right.
now.
Yeah.
But
No, it's funny. You're right.
But I had to pause for that too. I'm really excited to where I've watched these young men grow and mature and become men and doing manly things. And
Thank you. We
and you all
appreciate
having this platform is something that's special to where I try to share out as much information about you all's platform.
Thank you. Thank you.
And also be able to chime in not chime in, but just watch every now and then. So you all doing a fantastic job. So I want to give you all kudos for what you're doing. It's
Appreciate that, yo. No doubt.
it's something
about
that
it.
everybody can't do, will do, or
lying.
will be able to do later on. So I'm just you all just keep doing what you're doing. It's a great thing.
Thank you, sir.
Definitely appreciate you, my brother.
So back to what you were saying to the MS-150. So the MS-150 is a bike ride from Houston to Austin. And when I say bike, I mean bicycle. Most people think it's like a motorbike. Oh yeah, it won't take them but 2
no
hours.
Pee-wee's Big
No,
Adventure
no,
bicycles, yes.
No, how about 2 days?
Yeah.
So like it's over 2 days to where this year's the last weekend in April. We start on Saturday morning. We ride to LaGrange, which is a halfway point.
Right.
Camp out there, spend the night, and then we leave from LaGrange and go to Austin.
Yeah.
On the bike. If anybody's familiar with the Houston and Austin area, to where of course it gets hilly, and the ride is not easy.
No.
It's not for the faint of heart or
Not at all.
somebody who just want, hey, I want to ride my bike around the corner. No, that's not going to happen. But for the MS-150, to where it's a bike ride, it's kind of a and I'll give you my perspective of MS-150 as being a patient with MS. Riding the MS-150, to where it's two sides to look at it. To where as a bike rider, to where I'm not a cyclist, but I do train for this.
Yeah.
To where it's something that if I did not have MS, it would be a process of what somebody would struggle or sacrifice somebody who has MS.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're sacrificing your time and effort and also your body to display your concern or display your support for MS patients. This is somebody who doesn't have MS, but with me riding with MS, it's something I want to do as long as I can, or viable to do, to where I support the whole cause within myself. To where Jeff is reading the bike ride also, and he finished first, and it's not even a race.
There you go.
Just-
Okay.
And then we woke up.
right.
Yeah, me myself, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in August of 2012.
Yeah.
And to show you how amazing God's timing is, I knew Larry.
That's right. Yep.
We're all in the same fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity
Yep. Noob
incorporated.
Noob's in the building.
Yeah, Noob's in the
Yep.
building. And the reality of it is, I also knew about the BP MS-150. When I originally graduated from Texas A&M University, I worked in the accounting field in the oil and gas industry, and I used to donate to it. Had absolutely no idea what it was.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, just like anything else in life. Empathy, it's the ability to connect and feel what somebody else is feeling. But the reality of it was, I couldn't empathize with MS because I had no idea what it was. I gave my money, wrote my check, and that was the end of it. It's amazing how God's timing is, because when I was diagnosed, I didn't know Micah. But my wife's friend, shouts out to Natalie, thank you so much,
What's up, Natalie?
was able to put me in contact with Micah. And when you're diagnosed with a brain spinal cord disease that's chronic and progressive, it means there is no cure. And in medical theory, it's progressing and getting worse. The last thing you need is a Debbie Downer around you. You need somebody that's positive, uplifting, and I've always considered myself a faithful person, but even the strongest people in faith need help too.
Right.
Exactly.
And this man sitting next to me, I can't say enough how thankful I am for having him. There were some really dark times that the general public does not get to see.
Yeah.
And in those darkest days, times, and hours, I was able to lean on him, and in private, and be completely transparent what I was going through, what I was feeling. I mean, with MS, what I wasn't feeling.
Yeah.
And I had somebody to empathize with me
Right.
and understand what I was going through, because it's one of those it's one of those diseases. It's so confusing. If you look at Micah and myself right now, we're happy, we're vibrant, we're talking. Not all disabilities are visible to the naked eye, and the reality of it is, I always say this: MS is not a one-size-shoe-fits-all disease.
Right.
Okay, so what Micah goes through, it may be synonymous with some of the stuff that I go through, but in reality, I may not ever feel any of the symptoms that he went through, and vice versa for me and all the other millions of people out here who are struggling with this disease. So it was good to have somebody in my corner. And then even as we're all four sitting here now, it's amazing how God's timing works.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, you gentlemen serve as an inspiration for me because I remember when Micah first was diagnosed.
Right.
It was my only experience, with the disease.
Okay.
And having someone so close to me be diagnosed with it, it was an eye-opener. And ever since then, it's something that's always registered.
Right.
I see commercials, I see advertisements, I see fundraisers,
Right.
and I'm always alerted to it. And when people ask me, they're like, Rick, why is it that you have so much interest? I say, a really good friend of mine has MS, and it's like, well, who? And then people who know Mike are like, for real?
You wouldn't know.
They can't believe it.
He's
It's
such a
totally
positive
unbelievable because you guys stay so upbeat, so bright, vibrant, and energetic that I don't think you gentlemen understand how you serve as a beacon
Yeah.
for young people, people in your social circle, and other people who have been diagnosed. Because I think one of the great things about a brotherhood is that you have people like Micah that you can lean on.
Yes, sir.
And for Micah, Jeff, and vice
Yes,
versa,
sir.
that there are people who may have had the same diagnosis that may not have
Right.
those type of fraternal bonds.
And it's true.
Absolutely.
And they don't have someone that they can speak to. So from that standpoint, I want to ask you, gentlemen, when you speak with younger people who have been diagnosed, what type of experience do you share with them to keep them, or at least give them the tools to see and stay upbeat and
Right.
vibrant
Right.
as they go with these struggles?
I would say, and this is even referring to me speaking to Jeff the first time. Whenever he called me, and Natalie told me he's going to connect with me. Said no problem, sure, let him call me. And this goes across the board to wherever somebody calls me and they tell me, well, I'm calling you because I was diagnosed with MS. And my first thing is to tell them welcome.
Right.
And the reason why I say that, because when I was diagnosed in '99, there were only like 4 medications. Wow. But like now there's 15 and growing.
Right.
And to pivot from there to where that's why the MS 150 is so important, because it's a fundraiser.
Absolutely.
And it being a fundraiser, I think last year was like raised like $11 million bucks. But in the money being raised, I've seen it to where the medications have expanded to where that's where the money is going to find medications for the patients who are paralyzed, who are not functioning properly, who can't speak, who just it's everything your central nervous system handles. That's what MS affects.
Yeah.
Right.
So you never know, it may be blind tomorrow. You never know.
Right.
Exactly.
But in saying that, the money that's being raised absolutely goes to the medications and going to a cure. So when I tell them welcome, because I know where they could have been from where I started.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So all the problems you're having can be managed.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's one thing I was saying. And then going forward, just one thing I speak to them and see their mindset and see where they're going, because
Meet
you
'em
have to
where
make
they
your decision if you're going to sink or swim.
Right.
Barbecue or mildew, as I would say, if you
Right.
know people think.
Right.
To where that's something that I know I can't overcome
Right.
if your mindset is not there to make things happen.
But
And I try to be as positive as possible as I'm talking to them.
because one of our main goals for having you two gentlemen on the pod this week was to bring to light the need for people to donate
Right.
to such a worthy charity.
Right.
Because I know there are people who may not have ever donated
Right.
to any charitable organizations. And I just want to share with them that any donation to you all would be tax deductible.
Yes, sir.
Right.
And it's something where, like you said, in '99 there were how many?
Four
Four,
or five.
and now there are more
like
than
15.
So
And
that
those
shows.
medications were shots That's
Yeah.
the other,
Right.
that's the other
That's
aspect
right.
Because I
people
remember last time
don't
you and I talking,
understand.
like you tell me you taking a pill now
Right,
instead of the shot.
right. Because you
Yeah.
were there when I. So
I was there.
if
I
you
was
if,
with
if, if
roommates, yeah.
we'll plug this later on, but if you read the book to where like he was my roommate in college, Larry was.
Small
And
world.
when
Small
I
world.
when I went home over Christmas break, I was diagnosed with MS, and I came back, but I came back with a suitcase full of medication. So Larry was like, "Man, where you going? You moving?" Like, no, man, these are my medication I got to take now. Like, for what? So I had to sit down. Not had to sit down, but I sat down and explained to Larry what was going on. So you're right. Just it started.
I was
I had a whole suitcase full of vials, and
Yeah, it
he
was
was
different,
nervous
man.
when he saw all those vials.
I personally
'Cause
was more
you
concerned.
You miss a person for a weekend and everything is perfect, and then just come back with
Just
all
like
of that.
that.
Just
like
literally
that.
just like that, Jeff.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it was just because and like I said, Mike, you don't need me to tell you this, but I was never able to observe a real difference in your attitude or mannerisms.
God knows who he picks.
Before,
man.
Right.
after, or during.
Right.
Yeah.
So from that standpoint, and I mean, we going back to 99 now, and it was just hard for me to reconcile. I'm like, this is still love. He still act the same way. He still looks the same way.
Right.
And
Right.
it was,
Right.
no, it's crazy because, of course, no one's around when you're giving
Right.
yourself the medications or
Right.
the shots or go to the doctor's
Or
visits
when
with
his
you.
aspirations are happening.
Exactly, because, I mean, I don't have to say, I know your mom, your pop, your sister, your family. So it was something that I really, it was hard for me, like I said before, to just realize that there had been such a difference in how your lifestyle would change after
And
that.
I think that's a big thing, conduit and being still mobile and active, because
Right.
it's a mindset.
Right.
Absolutely.
I personally was more concerned, funny enough, once I got diagnosed, I was more concerned about having to take shots than I was the diagnosis. and I had
Not
earrings
a
in
shot
college.
guy.
Yeah. You know, I have
Exactly.
tattoos. I was terrified of needles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the irony is when they sent the nurse to my house, it was this big production. My parents came up from Austin because everybody knows I'm chicken when it comes to needles. And I'm literally sitting there and they're telling me the different injection sites. And for my first injection, I decided, okay, I'm going to do my stomach because to me that's the scariest place.
Right.
And 45 minutes later, I'm still sitting there with this needle on my stomach.
Like,
And like I don't want to I don't want to do this. I even got to the point where I told the nurse, you know what? We're good people. You have my word. I'm going to say that you were here, that you stayed, because they have to stay there the whole time. Go home to your family.
You go $20.
Because I don't know how long I'm going to be staying. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be sitting here with this needle on my stomach because this is scary.
Jeff, like, I'm not going to keep you on
I'm
the
not
clock.
keeping you- exactly. You're
Get you
off
something
the
to
clock. Go home.
Right.
Exactly.
Get you something to eat.
Exactly. And the irony, once I finally did it, and this is why I want to stress to people, in this day and age, information travels so fast, and there's a lot of conspiracies and theories out there, especially with donations and money and where does it go. This money genuinely does go back into research and development.
Absolutely.
Please.
Because the shots I used to take, that literally I had to take them every other day. I would take a shot. I would feel like I had the flu for the next 24 to 48 hours. And before I could even, right when I'm coming out of that state, it's time to do it again.
Wow.
And I can't stress how the mental aspect that I don't think is enough attention, because I'm not in a wheelchair right now. When I was originally diagnosed, I went completely blind in my right eye. I lost my ability to speak. It became very slurred, like I was inebriated 24/7. And also I developed, a limp. And it's amazing when you're sitting still, you can't talk, you can't really see, you can't really move. The only thing you have, honestly, are your thoughts.
yeah.
Wow.
And even though I consider myself a little husband and a dedicated father and all these things that I would pat myself on the back for, it brought to light stuff that I felt like, I could be doing a better job. In full transparency, because I work for myself, and shouts out to my beautiful, amazing wife, Angela. As a
What's up,
pharmacist,
Ange?
she has, set hours,
Yeah.
and there's no, it's not a lot of free time.
Right.
So daddy duty fell on me during the days, homework, bathing. And I used to, being honest, I used to be frustrated, thinking, man, I got to deal with these kids. I'm trying to run my business, completely not even referencing that this woman is out here working hard, because let her lose her job. And life would change.
Things change
very fast.
Right.
Yeah.
And in that
She's probably
selfish
Jackson.
mindset, it brought to light, you know what? How many people get to spend this much time with their children?
Right.
And I was blessed enough to come from a two-parent home. People used to joke and call us the Huxtables.
That's what's
And
up.
even though I know one of the members probably isn't a good person to be aligning yourself with right now. But
Back
either
then
way,
it was all good.
Right,
back then it was all
exactly,
good. That was the
exactly.
ultimate compliment
Exactly,
back then.
exactly.
No doubt about it.
But I said my father was present. My mom and dad were present. And I always said I'm going to be present for my children.
Yeah.
And I don't want people to get this confused when I say this, but when I go out and speak to companies, when I speak to individuals, I explain to them, I used to pray and say, God, look, when you work for yourself, there's no 401k, there's no paid holidays.
Yeah.
You have to work. And once my son was born, I used to pray and say, God, look, you know me, you know my pride. I've crafted this thing from nothing. You know, the Chef Jeff Group, Little Black Box Company, the Cater Company, they didn't exist until I created it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I've created this business. I've traveled to New York for Fashion Week. I've gone to Howard University. I've got my celebrity clientele built up now.
Yeah.
In reality, when I got diagnosed, it was over.
Everything stops.
Everything stops.
Life of an entrepreneur.
Everything
Yeah.
stops. And then you go through the mental aspect as a man, and as an African-American man, I want to be a provider. I need my kids to be able to look up to me and know that daddy is here, daddy is present.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about what's going on with me because I still got you. But in my head, I'm not going to lie. I was thinking like, Lord, please, why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
I'm a good person. Why is this happening? And I said all that to come back to where we are now. I didn't get diagnosed with MS because God, I used to say, Lord, take this away from me. Take this company away from me if that's what needs to happen for me to make sure that I'm present. But what it did do by being diagnosed, because I got a lot of pride, I had to stop. I was never going to quit. I would have gone down swinging.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it took that. I was secure enough to say to myself, you know what? You can't do this anymore. You're going to have to make a decision, and you're going to have to pivot. And through my faith in God, my family, friends, and then Micah sitting here, I had to make a decision. Am I going to fight or flight?
Yeah.
But what I want to make sure that the audience and everyone who hears this interview understands is that both you and Micah have built so much
Right.
after your diagnosis
Yes, sir.
that I think should be an inspiration
sir.
for every newly diagnosed
Right.
Yes, sir.
person to know that today is not an ending, it's a
Not at
beginning.
all. It's a
Kind of like you
beginning.
said
It
when
is
you
a
said
beginning.
welcome.
Yeah.
Because I've been truly inspired over the steps both of you gentlemen have taken since the diagnosis, because how can I say this? No one would question if you guys decided to just sit back,
Right.
rest up,
Right.
focus on my health,
Right.
make sure everyone
Right.
helps us
Yeah,
to
yeah,
the
Right.
to their
Right.
nth degree.
Right.
But I want to take a little time, Micah, because you've written a book
Yes, sir.
that I think can really serve as a foundation for those who are hoping to learn more and those who are actually living with MS. So could you talk a little bit about your book?
And
And can I just say this real fast?
Go ahead.
Because that book is not just for people with MS. That book is for anybody going through a trial and tribulation
That's right.
that is
Absolutely.
happening in life.
Yep.
And it's applicable to how you navigate through that and come out on the other side. Now,
That's
shut up.
right.
yeah.
No, that's good though. I would agree with you, Jeff. Yeah.
And
It is.
that was one of the main reasons why. Well, yeah, kind of one of the main reasons why I wrote the book, because I was doing a here it is right here. Mr. Larry Brooks hold it up for
There you
me.
go.
It's called Micah's Story. And of course, it's my story about MS. It's called Micah's Story, Redefining MS. And one reason why I wrote the book is I was doing a podcast with somebody at MS Society, and the guy wanted to get a feel for me. The crew did, so we went out to lunch,
Right.
and I was telling them stories about me having MS and what I went through, and he was like, "Wow, I didn't know all that." But his mother has MS,
Wow.
so
Small world.
he could not relate to her because she did not tell those stories.
Right.
So I was like, man, I need to put these stories in some kind of way where people can know who do not have MS. Okay, if
Right.
I know somebody who has MS. Let me get this book right quick and see what it's about.
So so what you're saying is your book is for friends,
Correct.
loved ones,
Right.
those who are trying to grasp
Right.
what their loved ones and family members are going through.
And yet, for people who have MS also, or any type of whatever.
Challenge or trial.
Yeah, exactly. To say that you still can make it, but you have to make a decision to make it. To where I watch a lot of YouTube clips with Will Smith and everything. He and I use a lot of his motivational mind set, I guess you would say, to where he always said, Confucius has his quote to where he said, the man who says he can't and the man who says he can, they're usually both correct.
That's right.
Right.
Yep.
So why not say that you can?
Right.
And that's the thing, the process I want to get over in the book. I've told myself and I told everybody else I can.
Right.
So now it's time for me to go ahead and do it. If I say I can't, of course you know what, you're right, and you're not going to do it. So that exactly for the book. That's something that it was spiritually enlightening once I finished. To where it's something that let everybody know what's going on.
Let's share with the audience how they can get in contact with you and get a copy of the book, please.
Sure, you can. It's all Micah's story. With getting the book, you can go to www.micahstory, MICAHSSTRY. So it's 2 S's.
Yeah.
And then also on same thing on Instagram and on Instagram you do Micah's story, and it's the lead there, I guess, whatever we call it. I don't know.
No, and I want to urge everyone who's watching
follow.
today's episode to share and tag anyone who may be
Please.
interested in getting a copy of the book, because, of
Right.
course,
It's worth
you
it.
can always follow and link with us through Facebook, IG, or
Right.
any of the other social media
Right.
platforms.
And when you order a book through Micah's story, www.micahstory.com, then I'll be able to receive it, to sign it, and be able to send it to you. So that's something I've dedicated myself to make sure everybody who's supporting it that way. And also, for this time before the MS-150, which we're riding in,
Right.
which is the end of April,
Yeah.
you need to
Right.
donate.
Let's talk about
Right.
that donate.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how,
donate, yeah.
somebody can go about donating.
So
everything.
if you even order the book between now and the end of April, then I'll sign a copy and send you the copy. But then that money you pay for the book goes to the MS-150.
Oh, that's
There you
outstanding.
go.
Yeah.
All the proceeds for that. So
Y'all on the same team, you Jeffy on another team?
Well, originally, when I was diagnosed,
that's too fast for us. So we can try to keep
that's
it.
not true. I thought I was the first ride, and then when I realized it's not a race the hard way.
Yeah.
So yeah, no.
We
But
found out
Because I
early.
would call Mike and them. They be practicing.
They-
through,
listen, they're
like,
serious.
20 miles just run.
Yes,
like,
sir.
You just ride
You better
20
come
miles
correct if
on
you're gonna ride
Tuesday.
with riding dirty. You
Yeah,
better come correct.
Right.
Yeah.
But originally, I had several, some of my frat brothers from my chapter, different individuals from my past that were already involved.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings
Yeah.
and be like, okay, you supported me. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna ride by myself. Part of that too was being selfishly like, you're not gonna blame me for us coming in dead last. But a good
But
friend
it's
of
not a
mine,
race, remember that.
right?
It's
Exactly. But it's
always
not a
like-
race. But it's not a race. But a
Competitive
childhood
is
friend of
sinner.
mine,
You noobs,
right?
boy.
Right.
You noobs always.
A
Relax,
childhood friend of
boy.
mine, Chris Taylor, came up from Austin, Texas, and rode with me. And the reality of it is, I was the opposite of Micah. I was hard-headed. I trained cumulatively, seriously, about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I rode around my neighborhood.
20 minutes.
Seriously. My wife was against me riding. My family was against me riding. And once again, my
Probably
pride
said 20 days.
kicked in. Yeah, and I was
Right.
like, you know what? Pride will only get you so far.
Yeah.
About 10 miles.
I
Right.
went, well, I went
Right.
about 12.
Right.
I went about 12,
12,
and
okay,
I
there you go.
texted them and said, hey, I'll be there in about 4 hours.
Yeah.
9.5 hours later,
Right.
bruised up from my back from falling.
Man.
I can't feel my legs, my face,
Come
my
on.
butt. Everything is numb.
Yeah.
And I'm literally dragging myself through this finish line. And the reality of it is, if you train,
Yeah.
it's a leisure. You're gonna work.
Well,
Yeah.
You're gonna work.
Yeah.
You're gonna work. I don't want to.
depends on the weather. No,
right.
yeah. It depends.
I watched
Just
it.
don't
I
take
watched
my-
it on
don't do
social
my
media, the
approach.
finish
Don't do
line
my
and all of
approach.
that stuff, man. I was like, hey.
I was one of the few people when it rained out the next day. Secretly, I was like, yes,
Yeah.
because I wasn't.
But
gonna
like,
make it.
I mean, if you're saying they're training for it, that's an aspect of life also.
Exactly.
You have to
Yeah.
prepare for the challenge you know that's coming up. Even the one you don't even know what's coming up, you got to over-prepare for
Right.
it. To where in my first year, when I've been riding, this is my 8th year riding. To where in riding for that first year, Ian and I, we trained so hard. But we needed it that time because the wind was a headwind. It was a storm the
That
whole
stuff
time.
matters.
So but the next year we trained just as hard, and it was a breeze. Like you
Yeah.
said, you can enjoy it.
Right. And I was ignorant to that. I didn't know about
But then
headwinds.
it's a other side to it. Well, okay, man, it's not gonna be that bad because I trained for it. And then you don't train as hard, and then guess what?
Yeah.
You're getting everything handed back to you again.
But it's something we were talking about before we started taping today's interview, where you guys were talking about there is a lot of fun that you guys have.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God! During the breaks
It's
and
a
setting up
party.
camp
Yeah.
and teams and all
People.
that kind of stuff. And
People,
right,
yes.
meeting the people.
meeting the people. And right. So let's talk about how some of the cool people
Oh,
that you meet being involved with the MS Society.
Man, go ahead, Jeff, because probably it's the same people we're
It
talking
is
about, maybe,
Lisa
and then some
Saylor.
more. Yep.
Mindy LeBlanc.
Yep.
And help me because I
Carla.
Lord knows Carla, Saronica. There are so many.
It's a whole bunch.
It's
of
a
them, man.
whole
It's
bunch of people that are like-minded. And keep in mind
Julie.
too, some of these people are not even diagnosed with MS, and they're working harder. I feel bad sometimes. They're working harder for the benefit of people like myself and Micah, anybody else diagnosed,
Right.
pure on passion.
Yeah.
And I can't stress how amazing these individuals are.
Yeah.
And again, God's plan. We're meeting these people at the right time when we're supposed to. On top of, and since we're talking about the ride and how much fun it can be, there is a huge party that takes place
Of course, right.
at the halfway point in LaGrange. There's a huge party and festive event going on at the finish line.
Yeah.
As long as you're not like me, remember this is not a race. It's a ride. You're going to see all kinds. It's a diverse group of people, and I want to stress this too. I volunteered my first year because physically I wasn't able to ride. I saw every type of person, every facet, big, tall, large, small, female, male, 80. You know, so I learned the hard way. A gentleman, I would say about 70 years old, passed me. And I remember saying to myself, okay, just watch this. About a mile later, I got him. About 20 minutes later, he zoomed past me. I never saw the man again. I spent too much energy trying to
You
catch
remember
him.
that story, the tortoise in the hair?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy because this has been so enlightening and uplifting. And I know Larry and we discuss all types of public service,
Right.
getting out into the community, and this MS 150 is one of the causes that we've been most passionate about, of course, because we have a personal tie.
Empathy.
But
Is there anything that you guys, would like for people to know before we
Go ahead, Jeff. You got
Well, more than anything, I don't want people to get confused. I sometimes feel guilty because Micah and myself, we're fortified in our faith. We're positive and we're moving. I've had I'm currently mentoring and speaking with some individuals. A guy that used to play football, back at College Station, Texas A&M with me. He was diagnosed a little bit after I was, and his health started to spiral a lot faster. There are so many people out here who are suffering in silence. I don't want people to get confused and look at Micah and myself and say, hey, yes, this is what you want to do. You want to get to this place in life. And I'll be honest, there are still challenges that I have to go through on a regular basis.
Yeah.
But there are individuals out here who don't have the support, don't have the nucleus around them to move in the way that we do. And so I don't want people to misunderstand that, yes, we are thriving. Medication is getting better. It's more advanced. But there's a lot of people, we'd be in here for a whole nother hour if I got into healthcare and this. My medicine is $5,000 a month.
Woo.
People need to understand this is not a game.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's
That's
my
it.
point. That's my point.
That's life changing. Okay.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah,
that I can get into.
exactly.
How about you, Mike?
What I would want everyone to know is, for one, God is able.
Yes, sir.
He's worked out miracles in my life to where I can absolutely testify to that. So I have to give him the credit for all that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But the second thing is, just make sure you learn as much as possible about anything that's not necessarily affecting you.
Exactly.
Even if it's not MS.
Yes.
But since we're talking about that, learn about MS.
Yeah.
Right.
And one way you can learn is by getting the Micah Story book. And that's one way you can learn more things about it. But then still too, if you know anybody with MS, make sure that they're
Check on them.
check on, call your friend. Just check on, see how you doing. They don't mind. I promise you they don't mind. Just call them how you doing. Even somebody who doesn't have MS, maybe cancer, maybe I don't know. Just
We're all gonna go
lazy.
through something in life. Right.
Just check on your friends. So I just want
You
people
say
to know.
just lazy?
Yeah, they just lazy. Just check on them.
check on your people.
That's one thing we don't do now with all the social media and all that good stuff. To where we just
Yeah.
I see they're doing well, but nobody puts up a post when they're sick,
Exactly.
right? Or when they're down.
Yeah.
Everybody puts up the positive stuff.
Right.
I'm guilty of that myself also.
Right.
And I appreciate y'all that do that because I don't want your negative stuff on.
Right,
mine.
exactly.
I go to for relief.
But you're right. And then too,
But
like,
no,
and
reaching out is most definitely important.
yeah, exactly. Reach out to them, and like Jeff was saying, to where sometimes you don't see what we go through in our own private sector, to where it's something that and I don't say anything about it,
Right.
because it won't. I mean, that's a whole nother story.
Right.
Like, just make sure you dig into what you don't know, and make
Well,
sure you talk to the person who may be going through that. And just
We
be
definitely
affectionate about
support
them.
both of you gentlemen here at the Prime Real Estate Network. We'll always continue to support both of you gentlemen.
Man,
absolutely.
love you,
The
brothers,
cause.
for that. Love
Mr.
you, brothers,
Brooks,
for that.
is there anything that you would like to say in closing? before we end this week's episode?
Well, guys, of course, you can see the information that we wanted to give out today was super important. So we didn't do as many commercials or sponsorships as we usually do. But also, I want you to keep in mind that there's a home buyers fair that's taking place at Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm this weekend. And so reach out to my office at 713-665-8329 to get those details. And Miss Jessica Joseph or Michael G. Davis will be able to assist you on getting the details. Again, that's going to be on Saturday. So reach out between today and on Friday.
And I want to urge everyone to get a copy of Micah's book, Micah's Story. If you need information on how to get a copy, you can reach out to me directly or via inbox, any of the gentlemen that's on today's episode. As always, please follow, subscribe, and keep up with the Prime Real Estate Network on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify. I thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Prime Real Estate Network. I look forward to seeing you all next week, and be blessed.
We'll be back next week.
Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, LLC is marketing a property for sale right now that you can buy. These properties range from land lots for under $20,000 to move-in ready homes $500,000 and more, along with everything in between. To see this week's list of properties for sale you can buy now, go to bit.ly/BDREF weekly list. That's bit.ly/BDREF weekly list. If you plan on selling some real estate and you need it on the weekly list, call 713-665-8329 to speak with someone about it.